Okay, so another title we saw in the State of Play January 2024 was Stellar Blade. Now, we've had a look at this game before, but we had another extent. I think from a technical perspective, it was looking really, really impressive. Oliver, do you want to take a point on this one?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to bring you a shiny, happy video today. And thank you very much for the response you gave to my previous video, which was just awesome. I really am appreciative of it, and my brand new subscribers as well. But today's episode is going to feel like an episode of Homeland. Remember with Damian Lewis as Nicholas Brody? And then, of course, when he died, yep, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that show, but it's been out for many years now, so you should catch up with it on Netflix. It's really good. And, of course, Rupert Friend, who took over as my favorite character of the whole series, Peter Quinn. This feels like that. It's so bizarre. I don't even know where to begin.
The name's Nukem. Duke Nukem. No, I'm not here to kick ass or chew bubblegum. I'm not here to get even with those alien bastards for shooting up my ride either. I'm here to tell you to watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. So watch out for him and his babes of the 1980s. Oh, and one more thing. Hail to the king, baby.
Going on a valley date with Danny Lalondes. I mean, if I was born with a stupid ass surname like that, I would have changed it a long time ago. Black voices in gaming, because God forbid it was called white voices in gaming. Just like you've got black gamer girls on YouTube. If it was any other way, you know what would happen, right? Just sound the sirens and the police will come breaking down your door. But have a quick listen to this.
Just realized that I was muted. My bad.
Oh, okay.
I wish you were muted.
I was like, wait, what? What? You have like the most amazing hair color. Like, it's.
Thank you.
Oh my God, but have you forgot my face looks like a road wreck? Oh, you forgot to mention that, didn't you? So this lady, Miss Lalondes, is an ex-Sweet Baby Inc. employee. What a surprise. In fact, if you just go over to Sweet Baby Inc.'s LinkedIn page, all the members are there for you to see. Some are covered by avatars, some are wearing the dubious colored jumpers. But of course, I'm not linked to them, so I can't see who they actually are. Although we do see that one's a homemaker, one's a writer, and one is a creative director, I believe, as well. So it goes on and on. Why they've got a Russian person working for Sweet Baby Inc. is anybody's guess at this point. But yeah, this is a story that broke last night while I was fast asleep. Ex-Sweet Baby Inc. employee and current EA's Marvel's Black Panther narrative designer seen proudly bragging that previous title Validate had no white people on their dev team. Remember, kids, blatant and open discrimination based on skin color is A-okay, so long as you do it under the auspices of being progressive. I will get back to that point as well in a minute. Of course, now if you go to Miss Lalonde's Twitter bio, what do you get here? GDC? Can't remember where we've seen them before. Her posts are protected and you can't follow her unless you have permission to do so. So again, Sweet Baby Inc., they're all about the progressiveness, but they have to hide behind their own shadows because they know what they're actually spreading out there, which is a horrible, dangerous virus, worse than the one from 2020. Now she's part of Cliffhanger Games and they're developing the Black Panther video game. Now, ordinarily, if this was like maybe 10 years ago, I think people would have been psyched for that kind of game. But because it's Black Panther, oh dear, just like that failed remake of The Color Purple with Halle Bailey this year, because it came and it went like a fart in the wind. But have a look at this interview. Well, it's actually 48 seconds long. But yeah, this is Gen Z, ladies and gentlemen. Big nose, a bull ring through it because I guess she's built like a bull. And yeah, let's hear what she has to say.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color.
Yeah, I just got that. It's validate, like going into the valley, and validate. Oh, it's such a great play on words. We have no white people. Oh.
We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me.
Listen, Miss Lalondes, that's absolute bullshit. And I mean, this is worse than William Spivy's, oh, why are there no black people in Shogun? Because if he did his research, which clearly he did not, that show was based on the man called William Adams, who was the first Englishman to visit Japan in the 17th century. And of course, John Blackthorne is the name they adopted for that show. But again, why on earth would that be a problem? Because I'm going to say it. Black people want to insert themselves into the achievement of white people. Oh no, John Blackthorne was the first white person to go to Japan. William Spivey was trying to change that. Like, no, we need to make that hero the black man who visits Japan for the first time. Remember the whole furore? I mean, you hear this argument, well, Jesus was born black. Have you got any proof? Of course, Madonna with Like a Prayer didn't help matters back in 1989 when she released that song and the so-called controversial video at the time. But back in 2006, when I worked for a government department, there was a gentleman who was the same complexion as me harassing a female co-worker, and he sent an email to her calling her a slut. How do I know this? Because she showed me the email. And what was bizarre, I was actually caught up in this very strange triangle myself because I was a friend of hers. He didn't like me talking to her because he was engaged to another female colleague at the time and wanted to have his cake and eat it also, which he eventually did. So when this bullring mistress here talks about, well, I want to create a safe and inclusive environment, no white people allowed, anybody is allowed to be toxic in the workplace, regardless of your color. So the fact that she's painting this thinly plotted veil about, well, you know, I got people who are all my complexion, we're all going to get on. Sister, have you actually hung out with black people? Do you know how toxic and virulent they can become? So I don't know what neighborhood you come from, love, but you're deluded. This is Gen Z, folks. Who cares? Gen Z, the people that wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning when they're supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock and it's like, you know what? I can't make it in now. Can I come at 12 o'clock but still get paid a full day's pay? Thank you. Bye.
And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments.
Yeah, yes, you are, because you're just going back on your narrative. That's so stupid. And in fact, if you want to make your point, Miss Lalonde's dumbass surname, perhaps look at the camera with imaginary dots coming out rather than, I'm looking here and I'm trying to think what I have to say. You get a lot of Hollywood elites doing the same thing, like Dakota Johnson, but, in her case, she genuinely just does not like Marvel films in general. And the fact she was trying to make it up, at least I'll give her some credit for at least trying. She gets a C+ from me, but this woman here is an absolute D-.
Environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that...
Because they find a fuckwit like you insufferable. Oh my God, and she's insulting Donna Summer with that curl perm as well.
Something made okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
I hate that smugness. Do you know how she kind of sits back and goes, oh, look at me. I've just said my piece. What are you going to do about it? Waving the middle finger. Holy shit. You know, part of my channel, I used to talk about films and TV shows. Then I made a move away from that. I made a big pivot towards video games because I've always wanted to do that, actually. And thank God for Stellar Blade. That was the game that kind of broke my shackles free. And speaking of shackles, I think they need to put this chick back in a pair of shackles and let her rant on about how progressive she is and excluding white people from her environment. To me, this is direct discrimination because DEI obviously is this ridiculous three-letter word that's supposed to incorporate all into the safe work environment. But quite clearly, it seems black folks are deliberately misinterpreting that phrase and weaponizing it because, again, BLM, failed hive mind cult, is now changing direction. And it's like, hey, you know what? We can infiltrate video games and we're going to try and change the landscape. Oh my Godsies.
Order now, and for a special treat, when you get my sugary sweet fun bags, I'm going to include my honkers.
So let's have fun.
But of course, folks, here's where it gets very, very strange. Dr. Rachel Coert, she's a doc, she's got a PhD. This is a statement that came out on March the 11th, and it gets so odd. Hate, harassment, and toxic behavior have no place in games. By taking direct, targeted action in a timely manner, yeah, isn't that strange, Doc? We can mitigate further harm to talented, dedicated folks in games and help prevent additional recurrences of these harmful events. It's quite an ambiguous statement because obviously been following the drama surrounding Sweet Baby Inc. That is what the doc is alluding to. But it's kind of funny that she uses the term games, not video games. So I wonder if she's kind of broadening that sphere just a little wider than usual. But this is in response to Gamergate 2. Who are Take This as opposed to Gary Bolo and Take That? Well, you're about to find out, funny enough. So, as we go on further, I thought this was a joke, actually. Department of Homeland Security to spend almost $700,000 investigating radicalization in gaming. Again, they don't say video gaming, it is just gaming. Several groups are coming together.
Hey, thanks for coming.
To study the little understood phenomenon. That's a bullshit statement right there. How is it a misunderstood or an understood phenomenon? Really? Are you kidding me? Really? Like, people have been playing video games for years. And of course, you might have what you call the exceptional case where somebody might be playing too much GTA and they decide to get a car and go for a bit of a ram raid session around their neighborhood. It may have happened. I don't know. And this is where it kind of gets a bit contradictory because now the doc is saying, this is March 11th again. So Take This is the organization that, if you want to know who Take This is, they made this. It's not an organogram, it's just a chart about what's causing rifts in video gaming. So at the very top, you've got lack of industry diversity, which is bullshit. Privileging the white male gamer, because where has their market research been conducted? Engendered misogyny. Oh my God, I even say that word. Engendered misogyny. Are you shitting me? Hardcore gamers and that manosphere. Because again, most gamers are male. Gamergate, but they didn't have a picture of Anita Sarkeesian in the middle or Zoe Quim. Normalizing extremist discourse and ideology, extremist evangelization. Oh, what? So you're alluding this to Billy Graham, the famous American evangelist, or was? Mainstream games soft sell white supremacy. Soft sell, not to be confused with the techno pop group, but soft selling white supremacy. So what they're suggesting is certain mainstream video games, again, they're just using the term games, not video games, somehow are selling you the idea of white supremacy, like Helldivers 2. If you look at the aesthetic of the characters, you might be inclined to thinking these are from World War II under Adolf, but that's not the case. Then again, why don't you say the same thing about Killzone 2, and in fact all the 3 Killzone games? Because again, they were meant to be space Nazis. They didn't have the obvious paraphernalia to go along with it. It was just a loosely based aesthetic. So again, what are we saying here, folks? Why is this research being carried out? It's really fishy. If you allowed video games to be in the market for so long, and let's not forget, folks, this is a $21 billion a year plus industry. Well, it was. The way Western gaming is dying at the moment, I don't think it's going to be lasting that much longer. I'll give it about a year and a half, actually, until maybe the corporations come to their senses. But here is the doctor. She is a psychologist determined to prove video games are good. So that's the first time we see video games being mentioned. She's got a book called The Zeitgeist of Pop Culture, The Witcher. Very white, very based Polish game. And she has all these other books here. So I'm wondering why she's issued a statement like that. But then if you look at her resume of what she's done, her body of work, is she really against what's happening to Sweet Baby Inc. at the moment? Does she not know that Kim Belair is a toxic, vile human being who had that GDC speech where she's actually saying on stage, hey, you better shock your people, take them for a cup of coffee and see how they react when you tell them that what you put in this video game is going to be problematic. Holy shit. But now somebody published this Department of Homeland Security
and hear your doobry go ping
number, which took me here, and it is the official Homeland Security website because it says so right there, the United States government. And of course, if you go to the next page, untitled. So that's what I came across. So this PDF document was uploaded and published on the 14th of February last year. Okay, right. So what does the next page reveal? Application for federal assistance, SF424. Again, this is all in the public domain, so I am not committing any atrocities here as such. Department name, Center on Terrorism Extremism. And of course, you got a college address here. Fiscal year, here we go. Fiscal year, Targeted Violence and Terrorism Prevention. Right, 2022. Descriptive title of applicant project. Disrupting video games-based radicalization through collaborative cross-sector networks. Innovation track. And as you progress, you can see the grand total is nearly $700,000. I'm curious to know, because I don't see it here at the moment. Oh, here we go. So if I'm reading this correctly, this is going to... Right, this seems to have started from 2020 and it's going to conclude in 2025 around the 30th of June. That's what I'm understanding it to be, and that's at Middlebury College. Again, all public information, folks, so I'm not actually breaking any rules here. But interestingly enough, salaries and wages have been not redacted, but they've not been published. Not that I can see. Here we go. Wow, this is wild. This is probably the craziest video I've actually done in a while, folks. I really don't know what to say anymore. I'm actually quite shocked. Holy shit. Man, this does feel like, I feel like Jack Bauer has to get involved, and yeah, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Kiefer Sutherland, you got to come back with Fox and make a brand new series of 24 centered around the radicalization of us mere imbeciles in video gaming. Dani Lalondes, what a vile human being she is. Again, I've said it at the top of this video, and I'm going to say it here again to conclude it. Black people, certain ones, not everyone of course, like to see themselves now as being the ones who are washing away white history and claiming it as their own. Case in point, Black Panther, created by Stan Lee. He also created Blade. You got that Blade video game from Arcane Studios, and I'm guessing the narrative's going to be the same around that, although they've got a white guy working on that. But the Black Panther game, I should say rather, oh my god, I mean, can you imagine what the narrative around that's going to be? well, you know, we couldn't have white people being involved in this game because they're toxic and they're going to ruin the environment. But this is going to be the same woman who will actually claim one day that Stanley was actually black and not white. And they're going to erase his face from history, just like Marty McFly's family in Back to the Future 1. And it's going to be terrible. And I think this type of behavior, and it's extremely toxic, has to stop at some point. It's got to come to a thundering, crashing halt. And also, there was some good news as well for Cabrutus, because it seems that Gabe Newell of Valve Games has not closed down Cabrutus's curator page for Sweet Baby Stink's Games Detected page. You know, the one Sweet Baby Inc. Detected? He's not closing it, which is really fantastic news. So Gabe Newell is a bit of a base dude. Yeah, he happens to be white as well, but I'm not going to hold that against him because, folks, I am the coffee who's looking for some cream. And if you would like some, you know where to come. So on that one, folks, if you were me and if I were you, you might want to arrive for the next video.
Then watch Jason Dumbass King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
We need diversity in video gaming. It's really funny that you see videos like this popping up. Luckily for me, I'm a big Call of Duty fan, and this video stuck in my head. So when I saw that ridiculous Dalondas talking about, well, we need a more safe space, and this is the new animations of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which was a really great remake, actually.
Yeah, it's not fun.
And this is courtesy of Game Informer.
In my mind, I had those rose-colored glasses. Like, the animations from.
And of course, Mr. Mark Grigsby is now the studio head of Infinity Ward, one of the most legendary video gaming studios out there.
Rose-colored glasses. Like, the animations from Modern Warfare 2, and they were pretty awesome. But I got back here, we started putting the videos on the TVs out there in the lobby. It's not flattering at all. At all.
But hey, the animations in this game are going to...
I'm in the thick of things.
So if you're not aware, this guy's the animations weapons director for Call of Duty.
What are you still finessing here?
Well, we haven't mocapped. This is all hand-keyed animation. I did ask the animation team if they wanted to go that route, but a lot of them were very purist, like me, and didn't want to, give their artistry away to mocap. They said, we're gonna hand animate this. So one of our animators did this one. This is probably one of my favorite guns in the game right now. It just gives me joy every time I'm playing with this gun. Just constantly.
I just like the enthusiasm on his face is just priceless. And you can tell, like, he doesn't want to do mocap weapons. He just wants to animate it from scratch because he's a purist. I love all of that. Do you think people like Sweet Baby Stink can even come close to the AAA magnitude of Infinity Ward? Of course they can't. They're grifters. They grift. They depend on getting paid out by other companies who are more than gullible to work with them and their consultation firm.